Ya, listo. Vamos a presentar primero a la hermosísima escritora de este proyecto, actor, que es Todd, a Hero y a Josephine. ¿Cómo? Hi. How are you?
Hi. Good. How are you?
I'm fine, thank you. Okay. Anna, I admire you so much. Really, I love the history. Josephine, you're so beautiful. I love your work, and oh my God, you made me fall in love. Really, I love the movie and the history. Really. Okay, we're gonna start with the questions. Okay. What does after mean to you, Anna?
Oh, that's a loaded question. It means hope for love, I think, like story-wise, not like what after means in my life. Story-wise, I feel like it gives people who don't have perfect upbringings, who don't have perfect decision-making skills, a chance and a hope for love. It also helps young girls feel like they can be independent but also in love, and yeah, I don't know what else to say. First question went to me, of course.
Okay.
La primera pregunta la tiene el Ciudad de México, Mónica Revolcada.
Hi, welcome to Mexico. I would like to ask Joanna how it has been for you the process of making your book a movie, and if you are satisfied with the result.
Yes, I for sure wouldn't be here if I wasn't. So yes, it's been a long but amazing, and really I've learned so much about the difference between film and movie, and I've learned incredible amount of things about casting and producing, and I was a producer on the film as well. So it was a long but great and well paid off process.
Thank you. La segunda pregunta es para Mim Silva de Relevant.
Hi guys, nice to meet you. And I wanted to know, Anna, do you understand the fan better than anyone? So, you said that you were like very involved in the process of the movie. What would you say that you changed or that you adapt like to make your fans happy? And for the actors, what would you say that it was the best thing to be part of this film?
Yeah, so I mean the whole project was basically for me to make the fans happy. It wasn't about necessarily having a new fan base or anything, which is luckily has come along as well, but it was really just to bring this story that all of these people supported for so many years to life. So I had a responsibility to keep it as close as I could, but the realistic thing is every adaptation, you're never going to get everything from a book. It's just not possible, especially because my books are incredibly long. So there were things that I was happy to change and couldn't wait to change, but there were some things that were harder to let go than others. But overall, I was so involved creatively that I felt like in the end I mostly got everything that I know the fans would want.
You go.
It was just an overall great experience. Like we got really close with all of the cast, and I feel like I learned a lot because, it was a big role and probably my biggest to this point. And I don't know what the best thing is. It was great.
Yeah, I just think to have as a first lead role such a complex character, such a good storyline, such a big fan base, and simply just luckily such a good cast and crew when we actually got to filming. It's kind of like the perfect setup for a first lead role, to be honest. So thank you, Anna.
You're welcome.
La tercera pregunta es para Eric Gallardo de Popcorn Show.
Hola chicos, bienvenidos a México. Mi primera pregunta es para Ana. Quisiera preguntarle ¿por qué cree que son tan atractivas estas películas erótico-adolescentes entre la gente y por qué tienen tanto éxito? Y a los chicos, ¿qué tan difícil es hacer este tipo de escenas subidas de tono? Si es emocionante, no es emocionante, ¿qué tal?
For me personally, I feel like, especially with YA or new adult stories, there's not a lot of, and I love almost every book I've ever read, to be honest, but every time I read a YA novel, I felt like it was somewhat relatable, but it was always this girl who had everything figured out. She had an amazing family, or maybe there was a big struggle, but in the end she saves the world. And there's a lot of girls who, myself included, aren't ready to save the world yet, and you make mistakes along the way. So I feel like they can relate to it in a way that they can finally read a book with a lot of flaws, which ironically enough is the thing that gets criticized the most, but it's the thing I'm the most proud of. So I feel like it's just a relatable story that people haven't read. There's millions of erotic novels, but sometimes there's not a lot of plot along. So I feel like with mine, it has kind of the best of both worlds. It's really egotistical to say, but people have said that so much that I believe them. So I feel like it's relatable and tells a real story instead of meet, have a lot of intimate time, one fight, then you're married, and that's it.
As for filming those scenes, I feel like the anticipation before you film them is always worse than the actual thing. Yeah, you kind of just have to, I guess you just do it. It's a job. Everyone in there is like, waiting to go home, and you've got like a bald grip holding a light, scratching his head, and you do one shot of like a small unzipping something, and it's 3 seconds long, and it's like cut, reset, and you're just standing there for 10 minutes. So it's not as glamorous or even awkward as you might assume. So no, it was fine in the end.
And we were really lucky that we had like a 1 week rehearsal time where we got to choreograph those scenes. So like really blocked out hand by hand, step by step. So it was on the day, it was fine.
Thank you.
La cuarta pregunta la tiene Mijael González de Wiki TV.
Hi guys, my question is for Hero and Josephine. What will be the things that you got in common and that doesn't have in common with Tessa and Harvey?
I feel like we have a lot of little things in common and not in common. Like, I wouldn't say we share the same sense of style or probably passion for reading, but we're both really driven and we both pay attention to detail and we overthink a little bit. Yeah.
I definitely need to think of a better answer to this question. Every time I get asked it, I don't really know what to say. There's definitely similarities and differences. I feel like the similarities, they kind of just come naturally and you focus more on the differences because similarities are going to be there regardless, but the differences is what you have to, is where the acting comes in. Yeah, I tend to say thinking. We both think a lot. I'd like to think that I have a bit more self-control, perhaps. But yeah, there's pros and cons. I say that differences. He has a lot of tattoos. I don't have any.
You're both British.
Yeah, there is that. We both look really similar.
Yeah, me too. Yeah.
Siguiente pregunta para Liz Hill de Sin Información Más.
Bienvenidos a México, welcome to Mexico. Ana, me gustaría saber qué fue lo que viste en Hero y en Josephine para elegirlos a realizar estos personajes. Y a Hero y a Josephine, si me pueden comentar algún error en la filmación, algún blooper durante la filmación.
We definitely have a ton of bloopers. To answer the second part first, like probably too much. Like some of them we should never show anyone.
There's a lot of things that are just lying on someone's hard drive somewhere.
Yes, and they're going to end up on the internet, I'm
Yeah.
sure. I'm sure. For the casting, it was a weird kind of process because we had already had fan casting and it had been years kind of in the making, and it went from having an idea of a certain person to another person. And then Hero, which he knows this, and I've said it before, is it wasn't necessarily like the moment I saw his face, I was like, oh, he's talented on a tape. But the thing with these tapes are they're like, it's so unfair for actors. When I watch these tapes, I'm like, this is what you guess off of? But it was when he came in the room, and before that, we were kind of, everybody was in different places with who we thought was gonna have the role. And then he walked in, and like 30 seconds later, I was like, I looked at the director and I was like, well, there we go. We might as well just cancel everything else. And then it got to the point where I literally was like, I will not attend any other castings if you don't hire him. So then, it wasn't like I had to make them. Everybody loved him, but it was like, that's it. I will not accept anyone else. So here we are. And Josephine was a little different way. She auditioned for another role and her face came on a Skype screen and I was like, that's Tessa. What are we gonna do? So then a couple weeks later, she flew in and she got the role. It was just immediate. It was not even that she looks pretty much identical to the character.
It's saying that, which I find so strange.
You just do. You look like, I don't know, it's like not even your like actual anatomy of your face. It's just something about you that I was like, and she's such a hard worker too. So it wasn't just physically, it was like she is so organized and driven, and it was really easy, to be honest. It was hard until we met them, but once we met them, it was so easy.
Siguiente pregunta para Arturo Tovar, de Movies.
Hi guys, how are you? Welcome to Mexico.
Thank you.
Anna, how you felt the first time you saw your book in the big screen? And to you guys, now that you are the face of the heroes of a big fan base for the book, how do you feel? Have you had any contact with the Mexican fan base of the book?
I felt it was surreal, and I was so involved that I don't feel like until we're in a theater, like the night of the premiere, I'll actually like get it, because I've seen it so many times, like on set and then in editing, that it doesn't feel like real yet, I think. I think I'm just so focused on the technical part of making sure the movie's good. So I haven't really taken in the fact that my book got made into a movie yet. I think it'll be probably like the night of the premiere or something. Yeah, it just hasn't really like hit me, because I've been so focused on the actual like work of it that I haven't taken the time to actually like absorb it.
We just landed in Mexico last night.
But now you're the face of you're the heroes of all this fan base. Now you are the characters. Maybe you read something in Twitter. How does it make you feel?
Neither one of us is super active on the internet or on social media.
Yeah. I don't think we're the most. Active is a good word.
Yeah.
But no, we definitely get to see a lot of it. Anna's obviously sees everything.
Yeah.
Nothing gets past Anna. She'll see it.
Nothing.
And she shows us the odd one. We obviously do see stuff, and the support is overwhelming. I feel like because we're new to this, we're just kind of still learning, we're still getting used to it, but we do see all the support and it's massively appreciated.
Siguiente pregunta es para Melissa Velázquez, de Revista Tú.
Hola, bueno, mi medio es una revista para niñas y adolescentes. Entonces, después de escribir el libro y de interpretar a estos personajes, ¿qué consejo le darían a estas niñas que, al igual que los personajes, están viviendo este despertar en el amor y las relaciones?
Well, I definitely would not use After as a guidebook for dating or relationships by any means. I would say the characters separately, but not necessarily the like dating wise. I would never say read After and do exactly what they did. Never. But I would say for people, I have in the fan base, half of them are relating to Tessa, where they are either pressured by their parents to have a certain career, or they have so much pressure they put on themselves to succeed in the world, and they overthink, and they are trying to be more adult than they have the resources to be. So I don't really know, I don't necessarily feel comfortable giving advice from the book, because it's not really meant for that. I want everyone to take something away from it, but it's such a subjective thing. Like a film, book, everything is so subjective that I hope that other people take different things from each thing. Like I've had a lot of people say, after reading Harden, I've decided to see a therapist, I've decided to make up with my father, I've decided to not be so angry about things I can't change. So those are little things, but I wouldn't necessarily say I'm giving any advice or a role model by any means, but I do know that I wrote something that people can see themselves in and reflect, and I've had a lot of people say they've kind of questioned and changed things about their lives.
Siguiente pregunta es para Marco Domínguez, de Entera Magazine.
¿Cuáles fueron los pasos que tomaste para llegar a la siguiente generación de After?
I don't necessarily even know what I did exactly. I would love to know. Everyone always asks, what's the secret? I don't know. I have no idea. I used my phone and wrote a book on the internet for a hobby, and people liked it. But I would say for other writers who are trying to kind of get this audience, you have to relate to them. Like, I have friends who, they'll have me read some of their books chapters, and they're like, why won't this audience like this? And I'm like, because it's not realistic. We're kind of out of, as much as Game of Thrones and everything is so popular in YA and NA, we're very much out of supernatural, out of fantasy for now. So I feel like you need to make sure characters are grounded and people can relate to them, because now everything that they are seeing, their peers are now on a cell phone. So you have to be able to relate to what they're seeing on a cell phone, which is so weird, but it's literally the life now. But I would just say to be relatable, because people can, especially young people who see data all day and are always consuming something, they can see if it's fake or real, and I would just say to stay relatable to them.
Okay, thanks.
Siguiente pregunta es para Juan Carlos García de Reforma.
Hello guys, one question for Hero, one for Josephine. Hero, you come from a family with a lot of history in acting and arts. What kind of advice they gave you for the roles that you choose? And do you care about the opinions, what they say about what you are working on? And Josephine, you are the only one that shares on screen with Selma Blair. This is going to be her comeback after she was diagnosed with MS, and it was a huge deal for her when she came back into the red carpet of the Vanity Fair after the Oscars. What do you think of her, and how was the relationship with her in the film?
Selma Blair is so incredible, and she's hilarious, and working with her was amazing because personality-wise, we have a lot of similarities, so I think it was great casting, and that
you too.
We were very similar to like mother and daughter, just in even how we walked and everything. So yeah, I mean, all I can say is that as an actor, she's phenomenal, and it was great.
My family and my uncle specifically are obviously quite busy and don't actually live nearby. We don't see them too often, but when we do, they're obviously really supportive and we'll have a quick chat. But I don't think it's as much me asking them for advice as opposed to me telling them what's going on and them saying congratulations, well done, and me asking them about their stuff. I know they would be there at the drop of a hat if I did need any advice, and I'm sure I will at some point, and I'll happily go and ask them. But as of now, I'm quite happy, trying to do my own thing.
Siguiente pregunta es para Jaime Rosales de Sinextasis.
Hi guys. I want to ask you, Anna, specifically, how do you respond to criticism about the role of women nowadays in this new era of empowerment of women?
I definitely, this is such a long thing, I'll try to give the shortest answer. I feel like there is this weird, I'm going to steal a little bit of your thing that we talked about the other day. There's this weird thing where a girl is supposed to be a good girl. Tessa is a good girl because she's a virgin. This came from Josephine, not me. But Tessa's a good girl because she's a virgin. Hardin's a bad boy because he's angry and he has tattoos. It's like, how is Tessa not empowered? Because she makes bad choices? I know tons of strong women, myself included, who make tons of bad choices all the time. She definitely, I think when people say that Tessa's not empowered, anytime I've ever asked someone, have you read the whole series? No. Okay. So there's a time where Tessa and Hardin, spoiler alert, are apart for years. So Tessa is definitely really empowered. I'm not going to spill too much, but she goes through a lot of things that I know a lot of women who would struggle with the same way. I think it's unfair to say that a woman's not empowered because she falls in love and makes bad choices. And I know a ton of strong women again, and it's the same kind of thing with 50 Shades where people can say it's this all they want, but millions and millions of women related to it, were touched by it. I know thousands of women who have jobs because of 50 Shades. So I think this thing about empowering women and a love story having ups and downs is really weird and unfair. So I feel like Tess is empowered, I'm empowered, Josephine's empowered. I don't think that mistakes while you're in love have anything to do with your empowerment. And Tess is one of the strongest characters that I've ever read or created.
Thank you.
Siguiente pregunta es para Diana Alicia de Super Estéreo 94.7.
Welcome, guys. Now, I have 3 questions. One is for Anna and the other for the actors. Anna, if you had Anna at the age of 10, what would you tell her? And for Hero and for Josephine, how do you maintain self-centered?
I would tell my 10-year-old self that I would say, you're gonna get out of here, of the little town I was from. That was all, since I can remember, I'd always just wanted to leave. So I would just tell her to stay strong, get new friends, and get out of town.
What do you mean by self-centered?
Self-centered, how do you maintain, now that you are embrace the pop culture, right, how do you maintain it in the ground, on the ground?
Day by day. I mean, yeah.
Gravity.
Yeah.
Sorry, I had to.
Wait, what did you say?
Said, how do you remain grounded? I said gravity. Sorry.
That's fine. Yeah, I mean, I feel like we're just taking things day by day and seeing how it goes. You know, get enough sleep, stay relaxed. It's all good.
Yeah, I think a big help is, yeah, exactly what you said, and good friends and family and people around you. Like, I could never go home and get big-headed. My friends would sit me right back down. So you've got to keep a good bunch around you, and they'll keep you in check.
I made a pact with my friends. I said, if I ever become a diva, call me out on it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't think I need to ask my friends that.
Thank you.
Siguiente pregunta es para Fernanda Flores de Reversos.
Hi guys, welcome to Mexico. And my first question is from Ana, and well, it's in Spanish. So, ¿quién fue o cuál fue tu inspiración para este libro? And the second question is for the guys. ¿Qué tal la pasaron haciendo la película? ¿Se divirtieron? ¿La pasaron bien? ¿Lo disfrutaron? This is all.
For me, the inspiration came from a lot of places. I've always been a reader my whole life. And I felt like I had read everything, even though that's not true. But I had read hundreds and probably thousands of romances, thousands of fantasy books, and I felt like there was something I was missing, and I was in like a book drought where nothing was really keeping me, and I read tons on Wattpad, I read all these different places, so I couldn't find anything that was what I was looking for. And so I just, one random day, it was like, oh, I'll just like write a chapter on Wattpad. I don't have any followers or any, like, I didn't have a title for the book, nothing, no idea where it was gonna go. But I just, when I wrote the first chapter, it just all kind of like poured out of me. And the inspiration while writing was the comments and the fan base like driving me to keep going and telling the rest of the story. And I never knew it was gonna be a whole book or 5, 7 now books, a movie. So the inspiration really just started from me as a book lover needing something different, and I couldn't find it. So I made it myself. I didn't think anyone was going to read it except for me.
I think we definitely had a lot of fun, and I think, like I said earlier, so much of that is down to the fact that, well, I say luck, but I think it must have just been good casting, because not only is everyone great in their role, but we all got along so well, and I think you never know, you turn up and you might politely say, I'm going to go to my room and hang out and I'll see you tomorrow, but we all would spend as much of the small amounts of free time that we had hanging out together, and that's what I think made it so fun. I mean, obviously, the process is fun in itself, but I just think the team that we had, like everyone at the hotel, everyone being at the same hotel as well, we were genuinely just like hanging out as much as we were working, if you know, well, not as much, we were working a lot more, but we were hanging out at every opportunity we got, so I think just such a great group made it so fun.
That's the sort of thing about when you make a movie and a lot of your cast is around the same age. It's great.
Thank you, guys.
Siguiente pregunta es para Manuel Irala de MBS.
Buenos días. Para la autora me gustaría preguntarle, una vez que ha visto el impacto que han tenido sus textos, ¿de qué forma la ha sensibilizado todos los comentarios en redes sociales a través de vaya Facebook, Twitter, para sus futuros proyectos escritos o proyectos que deseen planear en sí?
What do you mean?
acerca del impacto que ha tenido a nivel mundial el libro.
On me personally?
Ajá. ¿De qué forma te ha sensibilizado para futuros proyectos?
I definitely, when I started again, I didn't know I'd have anyone reading it, so I was writing it for myself. And it's ended up being read by younger people than myself. In some places I have only grown women reading it. It's kind of funny how each country is different. Some countries I go and it's all 16-year-olds, and sometimes I go and it's all 45 and older. So it's a very apparently universal story, but I definitely am more sensitive to certain things. Like there are things that I wrote in the book of after that, or even the Wattpad version, that I was like, nope, not going in the book. And even from the book to the movie, I'm more sensitive on things like body positivity. And after I would make comments about Tessa's body and things and insecurities, and I didn't realize how much of an impact it would have. So I tried to talk more about that in my other books. And I have all different races and different body types and different upbringings in the book. So I'm just more sensitive to the fact that my readers are worldwide and not everyone is the same, and not everyone wants to read the same kind of story.
Bueno, última pregunta es para Isaac Garrido de Vanity Fair.
Hey guys, over here. Isaac Garrido with Vanity Fair, and I would like to know, Anna, after getting involved in producing and script writing, how do you think that getting involved with movies is going to have an effect or an impact in your work as a writer? And also, is there going to be a cameo in this movie? Are you going to be doing it?
I think I already said this publicly, so I won't get in trouble for saying it, but yes, I have a cameo. And I actually really loved producing way more. I had no idea that I would even actually be producing. I thought, oh, they're just giving me a credit and I can sit on set and just like hang out. Not at all what happened. In the best way. I learned so much, and I love producing a lot. And now when I'm writing my other books, I'm thinking of everything in scenes, and it will be way easier to adapt. And I will never make a book where everybody has tattoos ever again, because it's so hard. And the hair colors, everything, I'm like, did I have to make every person have different color hair covered in tattoos? So technical things like that I've learned, and now when I'm writing it literally affects that. But mostly like timing and scene-wise, where I'm trying to make it to where we don't have to cut out half of the novel.
Y a todos ustedes muchísimas gracias por venir, en serio. Nada, esperen muy pronto la película en abril, ya estamos muy emocionados. Y bueno, muchísimas gracias.
Thank you guys.
Thank you.